I have a confession to make about my photography. I've been a hypocrite. So this hypocrisy is stemmed from a conflict between my desire to create photographs and my love of also producing YouTube videos like this one. So the hypocrisy comes from the way in which I want to create and produce my images and the demands that I put upon myself to create those images and videos so that you can watch them and I can share them on social media, etc. You see, the thing was, in my content, I was telling you to slow down, to engage with your landscapes, to think about the feeling and the meaning behind an image, to take things slowly and really consider what you were doing. And at the same time, what you didn't see behind the scene was I was working so hard, trying to get through things so quickly to get the videos done and get the production side of things sorted out that I didn't really do those things in the field. I didn't really slow down enough or engage with the landscape. Not only was I trying to create photographs, I was also trying to produce images. So my mind and my focus was split between two different things. You may be familiar with the term burnout. And although I don't think I was way down the road of getting to that point, I was certainly experiencing some of the symptoms. I wasn't enjoying producing the videos, I wasn't enjoying my photography, I didn't want to get up in the morning, I didn't want to go out, and I didn't want to do these things. You see, YouTube and social media is a beast, and feeding that beast can be an all-time consuming thing. But of course, in reality, the beast isn't the platform, it's you, it was me, how I interact with it. So I made a decision that I was going to change the way that I produce my content. So the solution that I've come up with is to produce videos like this one, where we're going to go deep in behind the creating of a photograph, like this one here, that I produced a few weeks ago. And we're going to do that in the digital workstation, where I'm going to explain to you my thoughts, my feelings behind the image, why I took it, how I took it, and we may even go into a little bit of editing there as well and explain how these things work together. So my videos are going to become much deeper, much more personal. And when I'm out in the field, I don't have to worry about talking to the camera or scripting things. I can take what's in front of me. I can just video myself producing these images and then talk to you about them and tell you the stories later on. So I was really quite pleased to get up onto the Dartmoor National Park on this day to take these photographs. Because as I said before, I've been struggling to get up, struggling to get out and find the motivation to do any photography. So when I decided to do this new style of video and concentrate and focus on the images a bit more when I'm out in the field, I felt a little bit more like going out and creating something. Initially, the weather conditions appeared it would be absolutely fantastic, but I soon came to realise that actually it wasn't going to be that way. But I was struggling with an overcast sky. There was actually two cloud layers. One that provided a little bit of hope and the other one that actually snuffed out the light altogether and just left everything feeling very cool and very flat. It really did feel like autumn was upon us, walking up, winding along the path. There was lots of bracken already starting to change colour. But what opened out before me was this really wide open expanse, and it was clear that the image was in fact about that. It was about the flat light, the desolate feel, the wide open expanse, the chill in the air, the subtle colours and the subtle rising sun in the morning snubbed out by the cloud. And right from when I first looked through the viewfinder, it was clear that this particular image deserved to be a panoramic. When you shoot panoramics, it's really quite important to make sure that the camera is set up nice and level on the tripod. So I took a lot of time to make sure that the bubble was centered, and as we pan the camera around, we wouldn't alter that horizon and we would keep everything nicely lined up. So I'm a very traditional photographer, and I decided to use my cable release. I could have got away with just using the 2-second time, but when I'm shooting panoramics or moving waves or something like that, I don't like to have the delays between the shutter clicks. I like to be able to press the shutter release, move the camera, press it again, move it, press it again. And that way, if you've got any changing light or anything happening in the scene, you minimize those things moving about and changing between one frame and the next. So the lens was zoomed down at about 105mm. I shot it around f8. We were shooting way into the distance, so it wasn't so important to worry about depth of field. It was more important to think about the optical quality of the picture, and to also consider the fact that if we can shoot on a faster shutter speed between frames, we minimize the amount of distortion we get with the overlap on the panoramic and anything that might blur between things moving. You see, for me, the point of editing isn't to significantly change the photograph. It's to enhance what was out in front of you when you're out in the field. So rarely am I looking to really change it and make composites or wild alterations or change the sky. It's all about reflecting back on the experience that I had on the field. If we take a look at the Lightroom panel now to start with, you'll see that I've highlighted the top row or some of the images on the top row in blue. These are the ones that I decided to pick and use for the panorama. You can select all of these together and then you can merge them into a panoramic before you actually start your edits. The first thing I did, if we open up the basic panel to start with, we can give it a before and an after look. So I basically went into it and I've adjusted the exposure slightly, altered the contrast. Haven't really played with the shadows or highlights or anything, but I have gone in and played with the whites a little bit just to lighten it up. Do you remember the reason that one of the reasons I took the photograph was because of this very light, airy feel? That's why I've adjusted the whites. I want to make it a bit lighter. I've adjusted the color temperature to make it a bit cooler. And I've also gone in to the presence tab and I've reduced the clarity a little bit, dropped it to -20. Sometimes images call for really crisp, sharp edges and lines, but I wanted this to be slightly diffused. I wanted to get those feelings of softness across as much as I could. If we then close the basic tab, in the tone curve, very, very slight adjustment into the blacks area. I've gone in and I've just lifted the blacks and just reduced the shadows slightly, and we can switch that off. You can see the effect is so minimal. It really is just very small edits that we're making all the time. So in the color mixing tab, I've boosted the yellows and the oranges. That's just to bring out these areas of yellow and orange that we've got coming through. It adds a little bit of separation to the landscape, and although we've got those cold blue tones of dawn, what we've also got there is a little bit of warmth coming through, and I wanted to exaggerate that, so that's the way to do it. Just lift those yellows and those oranges. In the detail tab, before we blended them together, we did a little bit of denoise work on the raw files. We've also done a little bit of sharpening already and a little bit of noise reduction just to clean the file up. We've also done quite a bit in the masking. Well, not a lot, it's quite basic things really. We've applied a mask just to darken the sky lightly at the top, and that just brings it into balance with the foreground. I've also applied a mask to lighten the bottom right hand corner slightly. It was just too heavy. And then to give your eye a bit of a focal point, I've darkened the trees in the center of the frame just to draw your eye into that middle. Well, my intention with this shoot was to get out in the landscape, to connect with it, to try and create an image which truly captured the feeling of being there, regardless of what those conditions are, and to use this video to share it with you. If you're ready to continue your journey as being an intentional photographer and would like to join me on mine, then please subscribe to my channel. Until then, get out, enjoy your photography, and I'll see you next time.